Good morning, everybody. This is the Economic Development Advisory Board meeting for Wednesday, February 20th, 2013. May we have a roll call?
Thomas Blond.
Here.
Tim Davis.
Here.
Carol Killian.
Here.
Lawrence McDermott.
Here.
Ruth Traeger.
Here.
Bishop Derek Triplett. We have a quorum.
Thank you. We got 2 minutes in our packet. May I hear an approval for the minutes of November 14th? That would be 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I hear approval of minutes for January 16th, 2013?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving right along. Good morning. Let's have the Volusia County Economic Development Department.
Good morning, everyone. Rob Earhart here from the County of Volusia. Talk about economic development. First of all, we had our Q presentation recently. I apologize, I ran out of my office this morning and did not bring books for your review, but I would say to you that it is available online at floridabusiness.org in the statistics and key reports section as well. There's a copy of the Economic Development Quarterly, and I think that's of particular note here because there's a feature article on both Teledyne Oil and Gas and their expansion, as well as AO Precision and their expansion. In fact, on the point of AO, as you know, they're the VMA Manufacturer of the Year last year. I had an opportunity to be in their facility last week, maybe the end of the prior week, and they already have equipment in and operating in their expansion. So they're not wasting any time at putting that additional floor space to use for their business. Just FYI, Grace Swope, the state of Florida Secretary of Commerce, will be here in Daytona Beach next Tuesday on the campus of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University at Dr. Johnson's invitation. The objectives are primarily for Dr. Johnson to meet this individual who works directly for Governor Scott and to convey to him more information about really what Embry-Riddle is and what their future will be and how that can impact the aviation and aerospace industry, certainly locally, but as well for the state of Florida. Great resource for Enterprise Florida to have in their quiver. Obviously, there was a successful Rolex race. Speed weeks are off to a great start. I don't typically speak to tourism, but just this came to my attention recently. I wanted to make sure y'all were aware that December 2012 occupancy and average daily rate report shows that occupancy in December 2012 increased to 35% from 33% as compared to the same time period in 2011. Average daily rate increased over 7% from December of 2011, and the revenue per available room increased to $29.35 in December 2012 as compared to $24.76 in December of 2011. That's an increase of more than 15%. So, from a heads and beds perspective, things are also positive. That segues into, I think you all are aware that the county had commissioned a tourism study. It was presented a few weeks ago. There will be a follow-up marketing study discussion at the Ocean Center on Friday, the 8th of March at 2 p.m. Not clear on how widely known that is just at this point, and I'm not clear on just exactly what's going to transpire there, other than the conversation is going to continue. People have now had a chance to digest the report that was delivered for the first time that night by Mr. Fenton. If you're curious about JetBlue, unfortunately, I don't have anything new to report. I'm told the conversation is still a positive one. No decision's been made, so when there's something of substance to report, I'll try to share that with you. And finally, wanted to make sure everyone was aware that the ISB Corridor Group has a study earlier this week, survey, excuse me. So if you're not aware of that survey instrument, I can get the link to it to Emery and he can distribute it to y'all. But it's their desire, Cheryl Coxwell and Sands Lassiter are the co-chair. Their desire is to get as many people responding to that as possible as a way of understanding, the full public perspective on just what ISB is and what people think it should be, and how do we get from here to there. So that's my report. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think I would like to receive it, so if you can get that too, that would be great.
Will do.
Thank you. Keith?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I don't know that I'm ready, but yes.
Oh, okay.
But good morning, and thank you for having me this morning. We've had an exciting, of course, month this last month, and we are pleased to finalize last year's results, 2012, with the announcement of 44 jobs, 1.15 million capital investment, and 1.4 million payroll flowing into Volusia County through a relocation of a company, JBN Duraline, that relocated from New York to DeLand. So we're excited about that. Our goal for the year was actually 55 to 85 jobs, so we just missed that, but we have a couple of announcements pending that are, of course, controlled by the company, and of course we can't announce those until the company's ready, and one of those announcements is here in Daytona Beach, and you've approved that. Now next year, or this year, 2013, our goals have dramatically increased. Everything we do is tied to metrics. We have to do that, so our goals are between 225 and 375 jobs. So we are always looking at the pipeline, and every one of our activities is designed to put leads into the pipeline so that we can process them. And of course, site selection is a process of site elimination, as we know that projects that are put in a pipeline, they're deciding on other communities throughout the Southeast or even around the globe. So as we define their needs, we hope that we will be shortlisted, Volusia County will be shortlisted, and we can locate the company. So in the pipeline, I'm very pleased to say that in the initial stages, which are very initial, where we've responded with demographic information, we have 4 projects with 2,100 jobs potential. Now, this is very initial. They are looking at sites throughout the United States, so we're not sure, but we have replied for Volusia County. All total, our pipeline has 9 projects with over 3,000 jobs potential, but again, these projects have not decided on Volusia County. One project has been in negotiations, and that gives us 40 jobs. So we feel that they will locate in Volusia County. Also, at the board meeting this last week, I unveiled our 2013 outreach program, which is very, very aggressive, and it is designed to go in front of site location consultants who typically control the largest projects that are relocating or considering expansion because of their fees. So we've loaded our schedule with 16 site selector missions. Some of those have already been or will be done next week, but always in front of site selectors. The reason that that's important, I may have discussed this at the last meeting, I went to Dallas in December, and from that we had 2 calls from that trip asking for project information, asking for building information. Again, it's really initial. It's not even on the pipeline list, but without that face-to-face meeting with those consultants in Dallas, we would have probably never gotten the call. So we have 16 site selector missions. One will be next week with a very defined target of 35 site selectors. It's called the Site Selectors Guild, the top site selectors in the country. And they'll be gathering at a meeting in Florida, and Team Volusia County will be one of the hosts at a dinner for 10 of the 35. So with Enterprise Florida senior level leadership. We have 7 trade shows planned, one of which is Plastech, which will be occurring week after next, and our own Emory Counts will be volunteering. And he volunteered, not with pressure, but
Now, is that
volunteered.
Chicago or
Volunteer.
somewhere nice and cold, or is that?
It's actually in Orlando.
or something?
It's in Orlando.
Oh, shucks, it's not somewhere like Hawaii or something.
But
Hawaii,
we try on our trade show schedule to take advantage of the Orlando Convention Center, because that allows our practitioners like Emory to come and help us as a team without a lot of travel cost. And it's a huge show because of it's a national show. So we have, this will be the second time we will be using our new trade show exhibit, which is much more than pop-up. I had asked for pop-up, but it was designed to require a couple of people to put it together. So it's designed to be a backdrop built around an LED screen where we show pictures of the communities of Volusia County with our logo. For example, we used it in Chicago in January, and we highlighted a chess set actually manufactured and machined at the ATC, which was a huge draw. And on another pillar, we had 2 model NASCAR cars, but we were handing out, we displayed Volusia-made products, and while it was 3 degrees below, in Chicago, we were handing out Hawaiian Tropic suntan lotion. So hopefully there was some draw for Daytona Beach and Volusia County. We also included 6 international events with a mission to Germany, a mission to Canada, and a mission to Latin America, and 1 developer event, which is the ICSC, which is very important for many of our Volusia County communities because of the retail commercial component of that. So we have an exciting program ahead of us, and we are collaborating with the CEO Business Alliance. As you know, we collaborate with you, Volusia County, and the CEO Business Alliance in all of our cities and strategic partners. But actually for the Daytona 500, we are hosting with the CEO Business Alliance a very key site location consultant, and Rob Sitterly, the Vice President of Business Recruitment from Enterprise Florida, and his wife. So it should be an exciting race day, and something that we can leverage for Volusia County and Daytona Beach. Thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I actually had a couple of questions. You
Yes.
answered one about the CEO Alliance and how much you're still, maybe we could have Mr. Sharples come in at some point and give us another little update on how they're going along with you guys. So, we haven't heard from him in a while.
And they are, I understand from Dr. Sharples that, he is using our new focus of very aggressive business outreach to the advantage of the CEO Business Alliance. We'll be doing a lot of the trade shows. Of course, Dr. Sharples will, but we are really out aggressively marketing Volusia County, and his efforts are very much more focused on individual companies and contacting companies directly, where we're trying to do it by industry sector and getting as many leads as we possibly can. And of course, we collaborate on a more than daily basis with Volusia County.
I do have one other question that kind of popped up in my head. This might be more of a negative, and I'm not sure if the two of you and maybe Emory can answer this, but we talk about getting new jobs and how many you brought in and stuff. Do we have any information on how many jobs we may have lost over the last year, is there anywhere that's being?
Part of your report.
The quarterly report speaks to labor market statistics. There's one source from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that speaks to size of the labor force, unemployment as a percentage, number of unemployed, number of employed. And then there's a second separate source from BLS that speaks to number of employed by industry. So again, I apologize, I don't have that report with
No,
me
that's
to
okay. I
share
just happened to
those
think
two
about it.
pages. But if you go on on our website and look at that report from memory, I think it's pages 2 and 3. And you can see those details there. What I reported to the community a week ago Friday was that unemployment was reported as 8.1% for the month of December. That's only 0.1% above what it was reported for the state of Florida. So that's Volusia County wide. There are more succinct numbers in that report on the following pages. I think pages 2, 3, 4, 5 that speak to specifically the city of Daytona Beach. Number of employed is unemployed was average for fourth quarter something like 20,800. So that was a significant improvement over the same quarter of the prior year. I apologize, I don't have,
That's
I'm
okay.
pulling up the specific number in my head. And in terms of employment by industry, for the most part, they were stable. There were a few that had gone up and gone down, or gone down and gone up, but for the most part, our employment is relatively stable.
So we really haven't lost any, you've brought in some new things. We haven't really had somebody move out like we did with GE or something like that.
Well,
Have we?
I don't recall any specific examples, but to be fair, the first page of this same report shows a 10-year history
Oh, okay.
of unemployment rate. There's a bar chart there that shows unemployment rate, and then there are 3 line graphs that show size of the labor force, number of employed, number of unemployed. So again, to be fair, the highlight for the community was back in the 2004-2005 timeframe. At the height of the recession, 2007-8 was when we had our highest unemployment, highest number of unemployed. We're not back to where we want to be, but the trends are all moving in the right direction,
Good.
in a positive direction.
Okay.
And I might add, our reporting is just for projects that we touch. So we're very, very careful, if another city works on a project and we're not involved, or if it's an expansion, relocation, we are not involved. So our data is only related to new companies to Volusia County and ones that we actually worked on. So if there was no involvement, if they didn't ask for incentives, then we would not list that. So it's not a real clear picture. What we are doing now is getting data from the companies that may have selected other communities, which is very important for our efforts, so that we can come back to you and say these companies decided to not locate because of the following reasons. Now, many of the companies won't give us the information. They don't want to be the bearer of bad news, or they just don't want to be quoted. If they're very large, there's a government relations person and media person that won't allow them to say it. But the typical projects that we would work through, Enterprise Florida or a consultant, we would get that information, which will better our efforts as we improve the market. There are 2 other pillars in our work program, and one is marketing and communications, which is a no-brainer. The social media, the tourist outreach, which we're still on the Beach Channel, optimizing those people that vacation here that may want their company here in the future. And we actually designed a direct mail campaign to 100 very select site locators. The first piece was actually dropped, and it highlights 2 of Volusia County's headquarter locations, LPGA and NASCAR. The box is very nicely done, and you open it, and 3 through the generosity of LPGA and Consolidated Tomoka, we had an LPGA golf ball in it, and as well as a NASCAR model car, and it said, "You might not know where these headquarters are located,
Oh, nice.
but they're located in Daytona Beach." Very defined, 100 consultants, the top in the country, and there'll be 6 to 8 other pieces, and what we're trying to do is highlight the business attributes of Volusia County. And these, for example, in Atlanta, when I went to call on a consultant in November, and you may have heard this story, I'm meeting with the consultant, I show them the building, the International Motorsports Center, where ISC is located, and I mentioned NASCAR, and the consultant said, "Oh, Keith, before you say that to anyone else, NASCAR is located in Charlotte. It's not located in Daytona Beach." So I said, I know differently. You know, the teams and, you know, the Hall of Fame are in Charlotte, but we actually are very, very proud to call NASCAR our home. So, and NASCAR calls Volusia County their home. The other pillar is competitive intelligence, which I've talked about, where we're actually going to come in and define the very broad targets that were chosen by the board and approved by the board in November 2011. So instead of going after all manufacturing, we'll define what type of manufacturing we have the assets for and the workforce for as we go out and recruit. And all of our activities will be targeted around those targets or site location consultants. But thank you for allowing me to give you the report. Yes?
Two questions, or one statement, one question. Did you know that I guess it was earlier in February, or might have been end of January, there were site selectors at Ocean Hammock in Palm Coast?
I'm not sure that it was actually, I think they were brought in by Jacksonville. I'm not sure. There was an area
there. I didn't know if we had anything to do with it. It's the second or third year they've been there.
There's a round table that's in Palm Coast that we can attend, but there was also an area development program, I believe in January, and it could have been in Palm Coast, that you actually, economic developers can pay to be with site locators, and I'm not sure that's the venue, but there have been two, one this summer and one in January.
I mean, Ocean Hammock is such a small venue. It couldn't have been a whole lot, maybe 40, 50, I don't know, maybe a few more than that. I mean,
well, the history there is that Jacksonville, before Keith arrived, the Cornerstone organization in Jacksonville is pretty significant economic development organization, not only in the state but throughout the Southeast, and they helped influence a decision for that group to locate at Hammock Dunes in last summer. I want to say August, maybe it was July. And they had such a positive experience, they decided shortly thereafter that they were going to come back to that same location. But your point's well taken, Larry, that we need to be out there competing for those kinds of opportunities. And I would only take this opportunity to echo what Keith said. The interaction between the county's group, Team Volusia Economic Development Corporation, and CEO Business Alliance is regular. The communication is close, and the collaboration is strong. So I know y'all know that, but there's people in your constituency and throughout the county that still do not understand that there are these three organizations, why there are three organizations, what the division of labor between the three organizations is like, and some still believe that there's some animosity or some conflict that results between those organizations. That's not my perspective. I've only been in the market 5 years doing economic development, but to me, the relationship, the professional business relationship between those three organizations and with our public partners like the City of Daytona Beach and others in the community has never been stronger. So,
and Mr. McDermott, taking your point a step further, that would be my plan in the future to try to bring, while we can go out and see site locators, it's much better for them to be here and kick the dirt. So either whether it's future activities or meetings like the area development or roundtable, we have enough hotel space and enough jewels here in our community to host one of those meetings.
okay. No, I just didn't know You know, one time I had accompanied, this was back in the Volusia County Business Development days, we used to just walk the floor at McCormick Place, or, you know, we would just go and not even have a display. We'd just go walk and take our materials and just, you know, go talk to people.
When that's what some of these
Right.
trade shows are, walk shows where we're not exhibiting.
Yeah.
To get on the, in fact, we're going to Chicago for actually an unplanned manufacturing show that one of our corporate citizens said, this is a great show, and Stephen Lawrence from our office is actually flying to Chicago just to walk the show. It's a great way to get leads.
Do you ever take other, you know, folks from
We welcome.
business people?
We welcome.
Because that's what we used to do, is we had a group of what we call ambassadors that would go with us. There wasn't that many, it was maybe 5 to 10, and they would go and on their own dime, we wouldn't pay anything, and their company probably would support them when mine did. So, and also Bruce Page, who's the president of our little bank, is also on the Cornerstone board. If you ever want to have any, if you need that link up, we'd be glad to.
Oh, that's great. And I'm
we're also a member of the.
Great. I'm actually a personal friend of Jerry Malott.
Okay.
So, you know, we collaborate. We can't collaborate so much because they don't represent us, but we are
Understand.
close friends. And I admire that group. And so I was very excited to be back in Central Florida so that we could work as a unit. So excited to be here.
Yeah, the second thing, it sounds like that was more than one, but it's really one. The second thing is that we used to have a written report that you named the various prospects, Prospect Alpha, Bravo, you know, whatever. Is it a possibility that we might have that report reinstated at any time soon?
I can actually send it to, we have it, I didn't bring it, but I can email it to Emery and then he can send it to all of you.
Okay.
And it's updated at least monthly.
Yeah,
So
if you
we have that
bring that
current-
along each month, because we did review that before, if you can.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was available, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You both brought up a really good point, and we're going to get to that in our old business area, so I want to remind y'all to remind me. Larry, you want to talk about the foundation?
Yeah, real quick. The foundation's having a revisit of the vision. It's the plan for the vision plan that was created in 2008. We're going to have a meeting. It looks like, so far it's April 5th. It's a Saturday. We were going to try to do it on Tuesday night, but I don't think we have enough time. And go back and prioritize the 6 emphasis: economic development and quality of life, environment, those types of things, and only prioritize down to 5 major issues. The reason why we wouldn't do that is that it's just a huge document. It's like trying to figure out where to go next. You really want to prioritize it. So we're going back and do that. Right now the city, I think, is working on helping us determine what emphasis has already been completed, and that's coming from Paul McKittrick, I believe. And I don't know if you have been in on that or not. As soon as we get that, we can kind of, Jim Dixon's going to help us by moderating or facilitating the meeting. And so hopefully we'll get some good groundswell of support on that. The 2 things we're working on right now, number 1 is the affordable health care for those working poor or the working uninsured.
Yeah.
Is going right along. We've met with Florida Hospital last week. We're meeting with Ray Salazar this morning. We've had some other meetings as well with other community groups and trying to elicit more support with, we met with Dr. We're meeting a lot of doctors,
Yeah.
trying to meet a lot of their community leaders to just try to get more support from the medical community. Because even though we have the Affordable Health Care Act, it looks as though, from a very realistic point of view, that the problem may get worse. That people may be set back to 29 hours a week from full-time work and not provided health care. Because some of these small and intermediate companies have a really tough time, and they would rather probably pay the fine and go on with life. And I know that's happening even in the company. Some companies that I've talked to, CFOs are sitting there and they're going, it's this big amount of money, I can't make it up in my budget, or I have to do this and pay the fine, and I can make that up in my budget. And it's just a pure dollar and cents type of decision, and it could make the problem worse. So we're working on that because we're working through the Volunteers in Medicine from Jacksonville to try to put together a group here and establish a clinic. We'll talk to the folks from Bethune-Cookman. The first clinic may be there. I know that they've got a great interest in that. They also have a nursing program that can help us. So there's a lot of things going on in that regard. It started about a year ago, March, and we started with the first meeting that we had with the community. And since that point in time, it's slowly but surely been getting some legs. And I just wanted to thank publicly Francine Barnes, Jim Dixon, and Dr. Brent Fulton, that have been leading the charge in this regard. So hopefully that's the one that we're really working on the hardest right now. We also have the train issue. You're still working on. I met with the city manager last week about the train issue. We're working on the site selection. There's a lot going on in that issue. Florida East Coast Railroad is working on a line from Miami to Orlando. Right now, I think they're looking at buying property on 528, which is owned by the Church of Latter-day Saints. So they're working with them. Once that happens, then I think then the next stage comes in north of that. I think the Amtrak deal may be DOA, just because it doesn't seem to have a whole lot of support. I know that there's certain congressmen that used to be of this district. I've talked to him, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of support in that. The train would be a good economic development resource. It's another way of getting here, other than car, and it's public transportation. It's would be another arrow in our quiver, so to speak. So we're just hoping that we can get that move forward. The site selection is important because if we can get the site selection, then we can start working on a plan.
All right. Thank you, Larry. Any questions? We have a lot going on in the vision that people don't know about. I guess the next thing is our old business on our economic development market trends report. Emery and I have been kind of going back and forth over this, so you go right ahead, jump in.
Thanks. It was kind of bandied about whether or not we should put the report on this year or not. Sarah Bates, our contact at the News Journal, cannot work with us this year. She apologizes, but that's the case. If you look at the second page of the agenda, I have down there a kind of a draft of what it could look like without Sarah and what have you. I've scheduled it for an hour. That might be optimistic, but it's a goal. And it would be in our chambers here. One of the advantages, some of these reports are provided to the community. For example, the 2013 program of work from Team Volusia, but if you're not in the room, you may or may not get a chance to see it. You may be in one of the rooms, but it would be recorded and therefore could be rebroadcast and what have you. I have spoken with Keith about it, I have not spoken with some of the other persons here. I have spoken with the housing, health department, Suzanne Grubbs. We're trying to kind of tagging on to where you are, Larry, with healthcare. Just a 5-minute presentation, kind of letting people know what the smorgasbord is out there. Does increased employee benefits that help employees be healthier, does that translate into bottom line, sustainability, what have you? Those are some questions we might be able to talk about. Now, I'm springing this on Rob. But part of the presentation could be just what you're talking about. How does Volusia County, Team Volusia, CEO Business Alliance Chamber work together? And as you see, as I've scripted it here, it is bam, 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 bam. No long presentations or what have you regarding any one of these topics. It is kind of wet your whistle and get the information out there. So that's kind of what I've come up with. We're kind of, we're talking about March 21st, so it's fairly quick. But I was in touch with Carol, where there's an organization, they were actually just starting to announce their event, and it was about 30 days out. So we're not, I guess, as far in advance of the event as we'd like to be, but it's doable.
Right.
So that's where I am. I have these guys on the spot here, so they
What I
may
was
want to
going to
comment.
bring up and have you remind me was exactly what he just talked about. If that communication level of people still thinking that there's not a working unit the way you really are, that may be part of our deal that we could do is to present that in such a way that you are working together and have it more public information so that the entities are working towards certain goals together, and not fighting. So that could be kind of the premise of the whole meeting. Whereas before, we were hoping that Sarah would be able to, bring us all these stats and numbers and stuff like that. Just as an informational meeting, maybe that's the tack we could take, if we still want to have it. I was kind of telling Emery, let's put this off until next year and make it a really nice big, So that's what I'm throwing out to you guys.
Well, we have the county report every quarter, which kind of goes, I don't look at the county as being a macroeconomic report. In other words, a large quantity. I mean, it controls it's part of the 16 cities in the county area. If you keep getting micro, just looking at Daytona Beach, I don't know. I would much rather see maybe the county start inviting the cities to give a report within their quarterly report. There's 16 cities that take what, the only problem is, and you'd have to, Lake Helen and, all the small communities, and you say, okay, what kind of report can they give? So I don't know. To me, it's valuable when you have the statistical information to go with it. And they have the statistical information on there already. They've delivered it.
Mm-hmm.
So what new can we present to them? That's to the people. That's my concern. To have a meeting, just have a meeting. I think we have one, and we have a good meeting that's well attended. If there's a way to bring the cities involved in that meeting, or to highlight a city for that meeting and say they give them 5 minutes or 10 minutes to give their specific report on their But if we don't have specific statistics,
Well, that was kind of what I felt when Emery told me that Sarah, was getting too far. She was available during January and the first part of February, and that was too close for us to even be able to think about it. We kept trying to find a date, and then once she said, hey, she's not available at all going forward, then that kind of took the meat out of what the whole thing was supposed to be about. So I'm going to throw it back to you. Do you think a meeting like this, if we still put it together as an informational kind of thing with all of the entities on here listed working together, or not?
I won't speak for Keith, and I won't try to speak for Dr. Sharples, but the three of us this would not be the first time that the three of us have made a joint presentation somewhere, so
Okay.
certainly if this is the direction y'all decide to go, I think it's fair to say we'd be supportive of that. My question would be, what kind of turnout do you anticipate?
Yeah, and that's my basic question on this. I personally, this is what I told Emery, that we, really plan for a really nice, big informational meeting in next January, try to get Sarah involved, so that we have a little more information to talk about. That was my thought.
One of the advantages, and I think, Keith, I'm going to ask for you to ratify this. One of the advantages, too, of doing it in January would be that your 2014 program of work would be available to us at that point.
That's correct, and then we would have the data of our accomplishments for 2013, and we've revealed the 2012 results numerous times, and I hesitated to even present it today, but that would be another positive. We are prepared to do whatever. I won't speak for Rob, because he won't speak for me, and I can't speak for Dr. Sharples, because he's not present, but we are prepared to do anything you would like for us to do.
Can I go around the table and have you
Can I make
guys
a motion?
comment? Sorry?
Can I make a motion?
Sure.
Okay, I make a motion that we postpone the economic conference or whatever till January, and make a concerted effort to get Sarah from
News Journal Research
involved in specific information about Daytona Beach, and then we make it an economic development tool and information meeting. Anyway, that's too
Okay,
long of
yeah.
a thing.
Do I hear a
But I'd like
second?
to postpone it to January.
I'll second that.
All in favor, or discussion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, well, we will definitely plan and try to get something really nice planned for January with all of the entities involved. Thank you, Emery.
Thank you. One last comment. Since we may or may not be in this facility next year, we might kind of think about how we might want to record it for posterity. One of the reasons for keeping it at an hour was because that's about how long
Yeah.
people are going to watch a program.
Right.
So as we go forward, just think about what you want to pare down, pare out, how you want to keep it moving.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Any other comments on that going forward?
I just had a question for
Sure.
for planning purposes. The agenda for today's meeting shows scheduled next meeting currently shows Thursday, March 21st. So with that decision that you just made,
That was, yeah.
will we be meeting in March, and will it be that day, or will it be?
That would be something I want to throw out to the board. If we were going to meet on March 20th, we weren't going to, March 21st, we weren't going to meet on March 20th.
I make a motion, we move our meeting date to March 20th at 8 a.m.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
So that's a regular scheduled
Yes.
meeting, March 20th. Perfect, okay. New business I need to throw out a little bit is, aren't we past due for elections?
Yeah.
Board election?
Madam Chairman, I thought a little bit about the empty seat,
Okay,
and there may be somebody that we are just
Missing.
really overlooking.
yeah,
And so at this point in time, without having asked this person, I'm going to put his name up.
Okay.
Phil Ellinger.
That'd
He
be
lives in
great.
Pelican Bay. He's a
Sure.
citizen of Daytona Beach. He would have to meet all the requirements and would be a tremendous
Asset here.
asset to this community. I'd like to put up his name and ask that the chairman appoint someone to go talk to him.
Oh, okay. Point
And
somebody.
with that. So I make a motion.
I've talked to somebody as well, so, but I'm not going to say his name.
Is this
Go
not
ahead.
a member of our economic development?
Yeah, to
advisory?
fill
Empty
this.
chair.
Fill this seat here.
We got an empty
Okay,
chair.
they're supposed to have tonight, they're supposed to vote on replacement.
Who?
Who?
Dale Hewerman and I can't pronounce.
Oh, he ran for his seat and lost against, yeah, he actually would be very good.
And
We-
the other guy is also a businessman, he's active on
Wow.
the community development thing. But have those two people put up tonight on the agenda.
Okay.
that's
Well,
correct.
And we haven't been informed?
It's on the agenda,
It's,
city commission
it's,
agenda.
it's the city commission that.
But they
No, we
didn't let
don't-
us know.
We
I
don't.
know. I think they
You didn't let us know, Emery.
A couple of meetings ago, I asked for you guys to, if you
Well,
knew
that's what I
anybody,
was-
to have them to submit their applications. Once they submit their applications, they go through the process.
Right, they go
and
through
then
the
City
yeah.
commission makes the,
I
You're going to
think,
get to Phil very fast.
yeah. No, I think either one of those, Dale, I know Dale.
Well, why don't you see if you can maybe pull that from the agenda? Get one of the commissioners to pull that from the agenda.
let me, perhaps after the meeting, maybe you want to
We
talk with
can
me.
chat, yeah. Very good.
I don't think
Is
it's
that enough?
proper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know, that's what I'm saying, because we've had the empty chair for 3 months, and now all of a sudden I'm told that we're,
Okay, thank you, Emery.
I think we should do this after the meeting.
Yes, thank you. We will definitely do that. Back to the election,
Yes, we'll put that on the agenda.
put that on the agenda for next time. And please, somebody step forward and run for chair, because I think I've done it now for what, forever?
6 months at least.
You were, we keep switching back and forth.
I was 2 years, you've done 2
You,
years.
2 years, so I think I've done 2 years, right?
We'll check you out.
Okay, check the record. Any other citizens out there? Any other comments from folks?
move for adjournment? Oh, let me adjourn.
I wanted to ask Keith, you said that it was kind of, they did not want to say why one city was not selected, you know.
Well, sometimes companies would prefer, it's not one city or the other, it's really communities. So if they were to decide on, say, Atlanta or Georgia instead of Volusia County in Florida, sometimes companies would prefer not to say negative things about a community.
Put it, why another city was selected, you know, put a positive spin to it. Maybe that way we can get some information where we fall short.
We can do that. And typically, it may be incentives, it may be air service, it could be anything, or proximity to markets. And then that,
Should give us an idea
exactly,
where we can better improve ourselves.
that's an excellent thought. Thank you.
Okay.
I had one more comment.
Yes.
I just wanted to, again, publicly thank Rob and Keith, as well as our other partners, for working with the city so well. We have meetings outside these meetings with businesses across Daytona Beach for me, and, it helps. It helps to have someone out there, some other hands, some other fingers out there, some legs, that kind of keeps this thing going for us. So again, thank you. I'm going to borrow something from Keith. He talks about top of mind, and I have really kind of inculcated that into my conversations with people. Top of mind meaning keeping Daytona Beach on the horizon for businesses if they want to locate here and what have you. So just thank you for your help.
Okay, thank you, Emery. Thank you, Emery, for all your help on this stuff. I know you're overwhelmed sometimes to be able to do what we need to do here, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Emery, the 2 new hotels,
Yes.
have they been before the commission already? I know the
No.
planning board approved the one project.
everything is not ironed out yet. So, no, well, does the commission know about it? Yes. Have they signed off on everything? No.
When do you think they're coming to the commission?
First reading is the 6th of March, vote on it.
Okay,
For the Russian.
Right.
all right. Any other questions, comments? You hear adjournment?
So moved.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen back there.
Thank you, Tim.